Hey there. Tonight, we are traveling to the absolute edge of human existence. We are going to a place where the simple act of closing your eyes is a negotiation with death. A place where the wind screams like a living thing, and the cold is so profound, it feels like a weight pressing against your soul. We are going to Antarctica, but not the bright white Antarctica of glossy magazines. We are going to the Antarctica of the polar night. Imagine a world without a sun, not for a night, but for months. Imagine a darkness so complete it swallows you whole. Imagine temperatures dropping to 70 degrees below zero, a cold that snaps metal, freezes fuel, and turns your breath into clouds of diamond dust instantly. In this environment, sleeping is not just rest, it is an engineering challenge. It is a survival skill. It is an act of defiance against a planet that wants you dead. We are going to walk through the process of sleeping in a tent, on the ice, in the deep winter. We will explore the layers of technology and psychology required to drift off when the world outside is lethal. It is a slow, quiet, and intensely detailed journey. If you find comfort in the sound of a blizzard raging while you are safe and warm, if the isolation of the ice helps you clear your mind, then settle in. Leave a like if you enjoy the dark, and subscribe to join our expedition into the void. Now, prepare yourself. The room you are in is your base camp. The walls are your shelter. Turn off the lights. Let the artificial world fade away. The darkness in your room is soft. It is gentle. It is not the predator that waits outside on the ice. Pull the covers up. Feel the warmth of the fabric. That warmth is life. It is energy. Let your body sink into the mattress. Feel gravity pulling you down, anchoring you. Take a deep breath. In, out. Let the tension leave your muscles. Unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders. You are safe here, but your mind is leaving. Your mind is drifting south, across the equator, across the Southern Ocean, past the roaring 40s and the furious 50s, through the pack ice that groans and cracks, onto the continent of silence. We are standing at a small field camp on the high plateau. It is late March, the season is turning, and we are about to watch the sun say goodbye. The event we are witnessing is the onset of the polar night. It is a slow-motion catastrophe of light. In most places on Earth, sunset is a fleeting moment, a splash of color, a darkening sky, and then the stars. It happens while you eat dinner. Here, sunset is a geological era because of the tilt of the Earth's axis. The sun spirals down towards the horizon. It doesn't drop straight down. It glides. It skims the edge of the world for days, teasing the ice with long, stretching shadows. You are standing outside your tent. The air is already biting, hovering around minus 40 degrees. You are wearing your big red, the massive, down-filled parka issued to researchers. It rustles as you move. Swish, swish. You are watching the horizon. The sun is a bloated, golden disk. It looks tired. It looks heavy. It is distorted by the atmosphere, flattened into an oval, rippling like a reflection in a pond because of the temperature inversion layers in the air. The light it casts is extraordinary. The snow is not white. It is gold. It is apricot. It is burning with a cold fire. Every ripple in the ice, the sastrugi casts a shadow. And because the sun is so low, the shadows are infinitely long. Miles of blue-violet shadows stretching out from every bump in the snow, looking like tears in the fabric of the world. You can feel the inevitability of it. The sun is circling lower and lower. Finally, the bottom edge of the sun touches the ice. It doesn't melt the ice. The ice is too strong. The sun begins to sink. It takes 20 minutes just for the disk to disappear. You watch it go. Half a sun, a quarter sun, a sliver of blinding red neon, and then a green flash, a tiny, momentary spark of emerald green light as the atmosphere bends the final ray of the sun, and then it is gone. Blink. The heat source of the solar system has withdrawn, but the light does not leave immediately. Now begins the twilight. This is the most beautiful and the most melancholy time. The sky turns into a painting of impossible colors. Near the horizon, where the sun vanished, there is a band of burning crimson. Above that, a layer of saffron yellow, then a pale, sickly green, then a deep, electric blue, and finally, the indigo of space. This gradient hangs in the sky for hours. The blue hour here is a blue day. The snow reflects this light. The world turns into a soft, glowing landscape of lavender and periwinkle. It feels like you are walking inside a bruise, but slowly, inexorably, the colors fade. The red turns to rust. The yellow turns to gray. The blue deepens. It gets richer, darker, heavier. The first stars appear. Sirius, Canopus, Alpha Centauri. They prick through the twilight like needles. The darkness rises from the ground up. It wells up from the valleys between the dunes of snow. It swallows your boots. It swallows the tent. It swallows the horizon, until finally, the sky surrenders. The last hint of blue vanishes, and you are left with the night. The polar night. It is not just dark. It is an absence of visual data. If you turn off your headlamp, you cannot see your hand in front of your face. There is no moon tonight. There is only the starlight, reflecting off the ice, creating a faint, ghostly luminescence that is not enough to navigate by, but enough to make you feel watched. The Milky Way arches overhead. It is so bright it looks like a rip in the sky, exposing a fire burning behind the black curtain of the universe. You look up. You feel vertigo. It feels like you could fall upwards. Gravity feels weak here. The sky feels huge. You are standing on the bottom of the world, looking out into the infinite. And, with the darkness, comes the change in you. The winter over syndrome. It starts subtly. Your body knows the sun is gone. The ancient sensors in your brain, the ones that evolved on the savannas of Africa, are searching for the morning, and they are not finding it. Melatonin floods your system. You feel a heaviness in your limbs, a desire to just lie down in the snow and close your eyes. It is a dangerous seduction. The cold whispers to you, telling you it would be easy to sleep. You have to fight it. You have to keep moving. Your thoughts become sluggish. It is called the Antarctic stare. You find yourself pausing in the middle of tying your bootlace, just staring at the aglet for a minute, your mind completely blank. It is a form of hibernation. Your brain is trying to save energy. You feel a sense of isolation that is hard to describe. It is not just that you are lonely. It is that you feel disconnected from the rest of the species. The rest of the world is waking up, eating breakfast, driving cars, sitting in sunshine. But you are here, on a different planet. You look at your tent, a small, yellow pyramid of fabric. It is glowing from the inside. Your tent mate has lit the lantern. That tiny triangle of yellow light is the only thing keeping you sane. It is the only evidence of humanity in 1,000,000 square miles. It looks fragile. It looks ridiculous against the backdrop of the galaxy. But it is home. You have to go to it. You have to crawl inside. You have to transition from the infinite void to the tiny, cramped, warm world of the tent. You take a step. Crunch. The sound of your boot on the ice breaks the spell. You are not a statue. You are a survivor. You walk towards the light. The darkness presses against your back, urging you forward. It wants you to leave, or it wants to keep you. You unzip the tent door. Zzz-zip. A blast of warmish air hits your face. You slide inside. You zip the door shut. Zzz-zip. You have sealed out the night. You are inside the capsule. But you know, As you sit there taking off your heavy boots, that the night is waiting. It is pressing against the nylon walls. It is patient. It has 6 months. It can wait. Now that we are sealed inside the concept of the cold, we need to understand the environment that is trying to get in. Before we can sleep, we must respect the enemy. The Antarctic Plateau is the most hostile environment on Earth. It is a high-altitude desert of ice. Let's break that down. High altitude. You are standing at nearly 10,000 feet above sea level. The air is thin. There is less oxygen. Every breath you take gives you only about 65% of the oxygen you would get at sea level. Your heart has to beat faster just to keep you alive while you are standing still. Thump, 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 thump. You feel it in your chest. A fluttering anxiety that never quite goes away. When you try to sleep, you might experience Shane Stokes' respiration. Your breathing becomes shallow, then stops for a few seconds. Then you gasp for air. Gasp. It wakes you up. It creates a panic reflex. It is your brain panicking about the lack of oxygen. So even the air itself is fighting your sleep. Desert. This is the driest place on the planet. Humidity is near zero. The air is so dry it is like a sponge. It sucks the moisture out of everything. Your lips crack and bleed. Your cuticles split. The inside of your nose dries out and bleeds. You wake up in the middle of the night with your tongue stuck to the roof of your mouth, gasping for water. You have to drink liters and liters of melted snow just to stay hydrated. But the air steals it back as soon as you exhale. And then, the cold. The defining feature, minus 70 degrees Celsius. It is a number that creates a new reality. At minus 70, physics changes. Plastic becomes as brittle as glass. If you drop a plastic spoon, it shatters. Rubber hoses turn into hard sticks. Electrical wires snap if you bend them. The insulation on your cables cracks and falls off. Fuel, standard diesel or kerosene, turns into jelly. You have to use special aviation fuel with additives just to keep it liquid. And your body. Your body is a bag of water. At minus 70, you are a walking ice sculpture waiting to happen. The air feels thick when you breathe in. You can feel the cold tracking down your trachea, into your bronchial tubes, deep into the alveoli of your lungs. It feels like inhaling smoke or broken glass. It shocks your system. Your body's immediate reaction is to constrict every blood vessel in your skin. Pull back, your brain screams. Save the core. Your fingers turn white. Your toes turn numb. Your nose. You have to constantly check your nose. Nose check is a common phrase. You look at your partner. If there is a white, waxy spot on their nose, you have to tell them. Frostnip. You have to warm it up immediately. Place a warm hand over it. If you don't, the tissue dies. It turns black. It falls off. The cold is not passive. It feels aggressive. It probes your clothing for weaknesses. A gap between your goggles and your balaclava, the cold finds it. It creates a cold bridge, a searing line of pain across your forehead. A zipper that isn't pulled all the way up, the cold finds it. It is a liquid cold. It flows. And then, the wind. The plateau is flat. There are no trees, no hills, no buildings to break the wind. The wind can blow for 1,000 miles without hitting anything until it hits you. These are the katabatic winds. They are born from the cold itself. As the air chills, it becomes dense and heavy. It sinks. It flows down the dome of the continent like water flowing down a hill. It gathers speed. It picks up the snow. Not soft, fluffy snowflakes, but hard, tiny grains of ice that have been on the ground for 1,000 years. It becomes a sandstorm of ice. It is a white wall of abrasion. When the wind hits your tent, it sounds like a machine gun. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. It scours the nylon. It vibrates the poles. The noise is deafening. Inside the tent, You have to shout to be heard. Can you pass the stove? What? It wears you down. The noise creates a constant, low-level stress. You are living inside a drum. And the wind chill, if it is -70, and the wind is blowing at 40 miles an hour, the effective temperature drops to -100, -100 degrees. At that temperature, exposed flesh freezes in less than a minute. Life is impossible. You are only alive because of your technology, because of your parka, because of your tent. If the zipper on your tent door fails, you die. If your stove fails, you die. If you lose a glove, you lose your hand. The margin for error is 0. But there is another side to the plateau. When the wind stops, and it does stop, sometimes for days, the silence returns. And with the silence comes the diamond dust. This is a phenomenon unique to the polar regions. The air is clear. There are no clouds, but moisture in the atmosphere freezes spontaneously. Tiny, microscopic ice crystals form out of thin air. They are 6-sided columns, perfect prisms. They float in the air, drifting slowly down. When the moonlight hits them, or the beam of your headlamp, the air sparkles. It looks like the air is made of glitter. Columns of light shoot up into the sky. Light pillars, halos form around the moon. Sundogs or moondogs appear phantom moons on either side of the real moon. It is a display of optical magic. You are walking through a cloud of jewels. It is so beautiful it makes your chest ache. It makes you forget the cold for a second. You hold out your hand. The crystals land on your glove. You examine them. They are perfect, unmelting. It is a reminder that this hostile place is also a place of purity. It is clean here. There is no dirt, no pollution, no rot, just ice, light, and geometry. It is a crystal world, and you are the intruder. You are the soft, warm, messy biological thing invading the perfection of the ice. You feel a sense of reverence. You tread lightly. You speak in whispers. When the wind allows, you realize that you are a guest here, and an unwelcome one. So you must be polite. You must follow the rules of the ice. Rule number 1, keep your heat. Rule number 2, keep your dry. Rule number 3, never, ever underestimate the dark. So, how do we build a place to sleep in this alien landscape? We start with the tent, the Scott tent. It is a design that hasn't changed much in 100 years. Why? Because it works. It is a pyramid, 4 sides, steep walls. Why a pyramid? Because the wind cannot catch it. The wind flows over the slanted sides. It pushes the tent down into the snow, anchoring it, rather than blowing it away. It is made of heavy, wind-proof Egyptian cotton or modern synthetic canvas. It is double-walled. There is an inner tent and an outer fly. Between them is a layer of air, insulation. The color is almost always bright yellow or orange. Why? Because in the eternal dark, or the whiteout of a blizzard, you need to be able to see your home. That yellow triangle is the beacon. Setting it up is a ritual. You cannot just throw it up. You have to anchor it. You don't use tent pegs. Pegs would pull right out of the soft snow. You use dead men. You dig a hole in the snow, deep, 3 feet down. You take a heavy object, a stuff sack filled with snow, a spare shovel, a heavy rock, if you have one. You don't. You tie the guy line to it. You bury it. You stomp the snow down on top of it. Stomp, stomp, stomp. The snow hardens. It sinters. The crystals bond together. Within an hour, that snow is as hard as concrete. The dead man is buried forever, or until you dig it out with an ice axe. The tent is anchored to the glacier itself. It creates a tension. The tent pulls up, the ice pulls down. It sings in the wind. a high-pitched vibration. Inside the tent, the floor is snow. You lay down a ground sheet, heavy rubber. Then you bring in the gear. The space is small, 7 feet by 7 feet at the base, but it feels like a palace compared to the outside. You crawl in through the tunnel entrance. The tunnel is a tube of fabric that you tie off. Zippers freeze and break, but a cloth tunnel can always be tied. You crawl through like a mole. You stand up inside. The air is still. That is the miracle. It is still minus 70 degrees in there, but the wind is gone. The wind chill is gone. You pull off your face mask. You feel the air on your cheeks. It is freezing, but it is not biting. You light the stove. The hiss of the blue flame. Hiss. It is the sound of life. The temperature creeps up. Minus 60, minus 50, minus 40. At minus 10, it feels tropical. You take off your big parka. You are home. You have carved a bubble of habitability out of the void. Now, you have to maintain it. You have to melt water. You have to dry your socks. And you have to prepare the bed. Because the ice underneath you is waiting to suck the heat right out of your spine. So, you build the platform. The foundation of sleep. We will get to that in the next part. For now, just sit in the yellow light of the tent. Listen to the wind raging outside. Roar. It wants to come in, but it can't. You are safe. For now, just breathe. Watch the steam from the kettle rise. You have survived the day. Now you must survive the night. The walk has ended, but the work has just begun. You are standing in the middle of the Antarctic plateau. The wind is howling at 40 miles per hour. The temperature is minus 70, and you have no shelter. You are a biological entity in a mineral world. You are soft, warm, and wet. The world is hard, cold, and dry. The world wants to equalize you. It wants to turn you into ice. Your only defense, your only hope of survival, is the bundle of fabric strapped to your sled, the tent. But a tent in a bag is not shelter. It is just potential. You have to turn it into reality, and you have to do it fast. Every minute you stand still, your body is losing heat. The exercise of walking kept you warm. Now that you have stopped, the internal furnace is banking down. The sweat you generated, and you did sweat, even in this cold, is starting to cool on your skin. It is a race between your fingers and the frost. You look for a sight. To the untrained eye, the plateau looks flat, but it is not. It is a frozen ocean of storm waves. Sastrugi. You sweep the beam of your headlamp across the snow. The light cuts a cone through the blowing drift. You are looking for a flat spot, a lull in the waves. You find a patch of hard-packed fern. It is old snow. Snow that fell 10, maybe 20 years ago, compressed by the weight of time into a substance that is more like sandstone than powder. Here, you whisper. The wind tears the word away before you can even hear it. You unclip from the sled. You kneel down. The snow is hard. When your knee hits it, it feels like concrete. You reach for the straps of the sled. Your hands are encased in mittens. Thick, bulky mittens filled with down. They make your hands look like bear paws. You have no dexterity. You have to operate the buckles. Plastic buckles can shatter at this temperature. Metal buckles can freeze shut. You have to be gentle but firm. Click. 1 buckle opens. Click. 2. You drag the tent bag off the sled. It is heavy, stiff. The nylon is frozen. It crinkles like sheet metal. Crackle. Crunch. You drag it to the spot you chose. You position it so the door will face away from the wind. Always away from the wind. If you open the door into the wind, the tent will inflate like a balloon and explode. You unroll it. The wind catches it immediately. Snap. The sound is violent, like a whip cracking next to your ear. The fabric wants to fly. It wants to join the drift and travel north to the ocean. You have to throw your body onto it. You lie on the tent. You pin it to the ground with your own weight. You are wrestling a live animal, a giant, orange, nylon beast that is thrashing in the gale. Your partner is helping. You communicate without words, just gestures, a hand pointing, a nod. Words are useless in this noise. Now comes the digging. You cannot use tent pegs here. A standard metal peg would pull out of the snow like a toothpick out of butter. You need dead men, anchors. You take your shovel. It is made of aluminum, lightweight but strong. The sound of the shovel hitting the snow is sharp. Chink, scrape, chink. You have to dig deep. You need to get down to the structural snow. You dig a trench, about 3 feet long, 2 feet deep. It is hard work. Your breath comes in gasps. Huh, huh, huh. The cold air burns your throat, but you are warming up again. The physical effort is stoking the furnace. This is the delicate balance of polar survival. You have to work hard enough to stay warm, but not so hard that you sweat. Sweat is death. If you sweat, the moisture soaks your base layers. When you stop moving, that moisture will freeze. It will turn into a layer of ice against your skin, and then you will die. So you pace yourself. Dig, breathe, check your temperature. Dig, breathe, check. You dig 4 trenches, 1 for each corner of the pyramid tent. You take the guy lines, the ropes attached to the tent. They are thick cords. You tie them around your anchors. The anchors are anything heavy, stuff sacks filled with snow, spare equipment, even a large block of hard ice cut from the ground. You place the anchor in the bottom of the trench. You bury it. You shovel the snow back in. Thump, thump, then, the most important part, you stomp on it. You jump up and down on the buried anchor. Stomp, stomp, stomp. This is called sintering. The pressure and the slight friction heat cause the snow crystals to bond together. Within 30 minutes, that loose snow will turn into ice, as hard as rock. The anchor will be frozen into the glacier. You do this 4 times. North, south, east, west. The tent is pinned. It is not going anywhere. Now, the poles. This is a Scott tent, an old design, a pyramid. The poles are already inside the fabric. You just have to spread them out. You crawl under the fabric. Suddenly, the world changes. Outside, everything was white and black. Inside, under the heavy canvas, everything is orange. A deep, glowing pumpkin orange. The wind noise is muffled. It changes from a scream to a roar. You push the poles out. You struggle with the fabric. It is stiff. It fights you. You push up. The peak of the pyramid rises. It catches the wind. Whump. The walls snap taut. The tent stands. It is a geometric miracle, a perfect tetrahedron in a world of chaos. You crawl back out. You check the perimeter. You shovel snow onto the snow flaps, the skirt of fabric at the base of the tent. You pile the snow high. You pack it down. This seals the tent. It stops the wind from blowing underneath. It makes the tent part of the ground. You stand back. You shine your headlamp on it. It is ugly. It is lumpy. But it is beautiful. It is a house. It is a bubble of still air in a universe of moving air. But you are not done. Your hands. You stop for a moment, and you realize you cannot feel your fingers. While you were tying the knots, you had to take off your big mittens. You were working in your liner gloves, thin wool. The cold has seeped through. Your fingers are wood. They are unresponsive. You try to make a fist. You can't. Panic flares. Just a tiny spark of panic in the back of your brain. Frostbite. You have to fix this. Now, you use the windmill. You stand there in the dark, and you swing your arm in a giant circle, round and round. Fast. Centrifugal force pushes the blood down your arm, past the elbow, past the wrist, forcing it into the capillaries of your fingertips. It hurts. As the warm blood hits the frozen tissue, it feels like fire. This is the screaming barfies. That is the technical term. The pain is nauseating. It makes you want to vomit. It feels like someone is smashing your fingers with a hammer. You grit your teeth. You keep swinging. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You swing until the pain subsides into a dull throb. You have saved your fingers for tonight. You put the big mittens back on. You embrace the clumsiness. Clumsiness is better than amputation. It is time to move in. You drag the sleds to the door of the tent. The door is a tunnel, a fabric tube. Zippers fail in the cold. Ice clogs them. Metal snaps. So the door is just a sleeve of cloth that you tie in a knot. Simple. Fail-safe. You untie the knot. You open the tunnel. You shove your sleeping bag inside. You shove the stove inside. You shove the food bag inside. Then you go in. You crawl on your hands and knees. You wiggle through the fabric tunnel like an animal returning to its burrow. You pull your legs through. You stand up. You are inside. The wind is gone. The wind chill is gone. The temperature is still -70. But the air is still. And that stillness, it feels like warmth. It isn't warm. If you took off your glove, your hand would still freeze. But the assault has stopped. The stripping away of your heat has stopped. You are in the microclimate. You tie off the tunnel behind you. You twist the fabric tight. You tie a knot. You have sealed the airlock. You are separated from the universe. You turn on your lantern. A soft yellow glow fills the pyramid. It illuminates the frost crystals hanging from the ceiling. It illuminates the breath clouding from your mouth. It illuminates the face of your tentmate. You look at each other. Their face is covered in a rim of ice. The balaclava is frozen stiff around the mouth. The eyelashes are caked with white frost. They look like a yeti, and you know you look the same. You smile. The ice on your face cracks. "Home," you whisper. "Home," they whisper back. You sit down on the floor of the tent. The floor is covered in a heavy rubber sheet. Beneath that is the snow. You can feel the cold radiating up through your pants, but you are off the wind. You lean back against a gear bag. You close your eyes for a second. Just 1 second. You listen to the storm outside. Row-ah. It sounds angry. It sounds frustrated. It wants to get in. It wants to kill you, but it can't. You have built a wall. You have used geometry and physics and sweat to create a sanctuary. You are safe, but you cannot sleep yet. The tent is just the shell. Now you have to build the engine of survival. You have to build the bed, and that is a whole other level of engineering. Open your eyes. There is work to do. The tent is pitched. The wind is walled out, but the cold is inside with you. It sits in the corners of the tent. It seeps up from the floor. It hangs in the still air, waiting for you to stop moving. You have created shelter, but you have not yet created warmth. To sleep, you must become an architect of insulation. You have to build a system that traps the one thing that matters, the heat generated by your own metabolism. You are a small biological furnace, putting out about 100 watts of energy. Your job now is to capture every single watt. You start with the floor. The floor of the tent is a sheet of rubberized nylon. It is thin. Beneath it is thousands of feet of solid ice. That ice is a heat sink. It is a vampire. If you lie directly on the floor, the ice will suck the heat out of your body through conduction. It will drain you dry in an hour. You would fall asleep and never wake up. So you have to build a foundation. You take your sleeping pads. You don't just use one. One is for camping in the summer. This is the Antarctic winter. You use 2, maybe 3. The first layer is closed cell foam, a dense, yellow mat. It is indestructible. It doesn't compress much. It doesn't pop. You unroll it. Slap. It curls up at the ends, stiff from the cold. You have to force it flat. You put your heavy boots on the corners to hold it down. This layer is the fail-safe. If everything else breaks, this foam will keep you alive. The second layer is technology. An inflatable, down-filled mattress. It is filled with goose feathers and air. You unroll it on top of the foam. You have to inflate it, but you cannot use your breath. If you blow into the valve with your mouth, you are filling the mattress with moisture, vapor from your lungs. That vapor will freeze inside the mattress. It will turn the soft down feathers into blocks of ice. The mattress will become a rock. So you use a pump sack, a bag that captures air and forces it into the mattress. Whoosh, squeeze, whoosh, squeeze. It is a slow process. You watch the mattress rise. It becomes thick, 3 inches of loft. This is the barrier. This is the R value, resistance to heat flow. You are building a bridge over the river of cold. You kneel on the pads. You can feel the difference instantly. Your knees are no longer touching the thermal mass of the ice sheet. They are floating on a cushion of air. The conduction loop is broken. Now, the sleeping bag. This is the big red, or the bison. It is not a bag. It is a sarcophagus of down. It weighs 5 pounds. It is massive. When you pull it out of its compression sack, it explodes. Poof, it expands. It inhales air. The down feathers inside, thousands of them, spring apart. They create a thick, fluffy wall of trapped air. That is the secret. Feathers don't keep you warm. The air trapped between the feathers keeps you warm. You shake it out. Shake. Shake. You want maximum loft. You want it to look like a cloud. You lay it on the pads. It fills the tent. It is huge. It has a hood that looks like a snorkel. It has a draft collar, a tube of down that goes around your neck to seal in the heat. It has a draft tube along the zipper to stop the cold from sneaking in through the teeth. It is a marvel of textile engineering. But even this is not enough. Because there is a hidden enemy. Physics. Specifically, the dew point. Your body sweats. Even when you sleep. Even when you are cold. You lose about a pint of water every night through your skin. Insensible perspiration. In a normal sleeping bag, that moisture travels through the down, moving away from your warm body towards the cold air outside. Somewhere in the middle of the bag insulation, that moisture hits the freezing point, the dew point. The water vapor turns to ice. It freezes times inside, times the feathers. Night after night, the ice builds up. The bag gets heavier. The feathers clump together. The insulation fails. After a week, you are sleeping in a bag of ice. You freeze. To stop this, you have to do something that feels completely wrong. You have to use a VBL, a vapor barrier liner. It is a bag made of coated nylon, waterproof, airtight. It looks like a giant trash bag. You put it times inside times the sleeping bag. You sleep inside the VBL. This stops your sweat from getting into the down. It keeps the insulation dry, but it means you are sleeping in your own sweat. It is clammy. It is humid. It is gross. It feels like sleeping in a swamp, but a warm swamp is better than a frozen coffin. You insert the VBL into the big red. You smooth it out. The sound of the crinkling nylon is loud in the small tent. Crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. It is the sound of survival. Now, the organization. You cannot just crawl in. You have to arrange your life. Everything that can freeze must go inside the bag with you. Your water bottle. If you leave it out, it will be a brick of ice in the morning. You put the Nalgene bottle deep in the foot of the bag. It will be your hot water bottle if you filled it with melted snow, or just a lump in the bed. Your boot liners. You take the inner felt liners out of your boots. You cannot leave them in the frozen shells. They will be solid as wood in the morning. You will never get your feet back in. You have to sleep with them. You flatten them out. You shove them down the bag, or you lay them on top of your chest. They smell of feet, but they are dryish, and they will stay warm. Your electronics, batteries die in the cold. Your headlamp, your GPS, your camera battery, they all go in the bag. You are sleeping with a junk drawer. You arrange it all. You create a nest. You check the zippers. Are they snagged? A snagged zipper in the middle of the night is a panic-inducing event. You smooth everything out. And now, the strip. You have to take off your clothes. Not all of them, but the big layers. You are wearing your parka, your wind pants, your heavy fleece. You are warm right now, but you cannot sleep in all this. If you do, you will compress the insulation of the bag. You will sweat too much. You have to strip down to your base layers. This is the moment of truth. The tent air is minus 30 degrees. It has warmed up from minus 70, thanks to the stove and your body heat, but it is still deadly. You have to be fast. You unzip your parka. Zip. The cold air hits your chest. You pull your arms out. You shed the heavy coat. You pile it on top of the sleeping bag to add another layer of insulation over your feet. You pull off your wind pants. You are sitting in your long underwear, merino wool. You are shivering. Chatter, chatter. Your body screams at you. What are you doing? Put the coat back on. But you don't. You dive. You slide your legs into the VBL. The nylon is cold against your skin. You slide deeper into the down bag. You wiggle. You squirm. You pull the bag up to your waist, your chest, your neck. You grab the hood. You pull it over your head. You find the draw cords. One for the neck collar. Tighten it. Sink. One for the face hole. Tighten it. Sink. You pull it until there is only a tiny hole left, just enough for your nose and mouth. You are a caterpillar in a cocoon. You lie still. You wait. At first, nothing happens. You are freezing. The bag is cold. The pad is cold. You shiver violently. This is good. Shivering is heat. Your muscles are firing. Your metabolic furnace is roaring. You generate heat. The heat moves into the air trapped in the down feathers. The air warms up. It stays there. Slowly, inch by inch, the warmth returns. Your feet stop hurting. Your hands stop aching. The shivering stops. A profound sense of relief washes over you. You have done it. You have built the system, and the system works. You are floating in a warm void. Outside, the wind is tearing at the tent. Flap, flap, flap. But inside, in the dark of the bag, it is tropical. It is humid, thanks to the VBL. It is soft. You can hear your own heartbeat. Thump, thump. You can hear your breath. Ha, whoo. You are a self-contained universe. You are ready to sleep, to shut down the mind, to let the body repair the damage of the day. The cold is inches away, but for the next 8 hours, it cannot touch you. You close your eyes. The darkness of the bag merges with the darkness of the night. You drift, safe, warm, alive. The tent is standing. The walls are taut. The wind is screaming outside, a frustrated beast clawing at the nylon. But you are inside. You have crossed the threshold from the hostile macrocosm of the Antarctic plateau to the fragile microcosm of your shelter. You are sitting on your sleeping pads, your legs crossed, your back hunched under the low ceiling of the pyramid. The air inside is still, but it is not warm. Not yet. The thermometer hanging from the apex loop reads minus 40 degrees Celsius. It has warmed up 30 degrees just from the stillness and your body heat, but minus 40 is still a temperature that kills. You are entering the most critical phase of the evening routine. You are entering the metabolic crisis. Your body is a biological machine, and for the last 12 hours, it has been running at maximum output. You have been dragging a sled weighing 200 pounds. You have been walking through snow that feels like sand. You have been fighting the wind. Your internal furnace has burned through every gram of glycogen stored in your liver. It has burned through the breakfast you ate in the dark. It has burned through the chocolate bar you ate at noon. Now, the gauge is on empty. You can feel it, a deep, hollow trembling in your core. It is not just shivering, it is a vibration of the bones. Your brain is getting fuzzy. The umbilical cord of warmth is fraying. If you do not put fuel into the furnace within the next hour, the cold will win. You will slide into hypothermia, into the long, driftless sleep that has claimed so many explorers before you. So, you begin the ritual of the stove. In the modern world, cooking is a chore. In Antarctica, it is a sacrament. The stove is the altar. You reach into the vestibule, the small, triangular space near the door where the snow floor is exposed. You pull over the kitchen box. It is a simple plywood box, battered and scarred, the corners reinforced with metal. It smells of spilled fuel and old soot. You open the latch, click. Inside lies the MSR XGKEX. It does not look like a life-saving device. It looks like a mechanical insect, a spindly, ugly contraption of stainless steel legs, a brass generator tube, and a fuel line wrapped in braided steel mesh. It is covered in black carbon, the patina of 1,000 meals melted from ice. This stove is loud. It is crude. It has no simmer setting. It has 2 modes, off and jet engine, but it is the only stove on Earth that will reliably turn liquid fuel into fire at 70 degrees below zero. Other stoves fail. Their plastic pumps shatter. Their valves freeze. The XGK endures. You take out the fuel bottle. It is a red aluminum cylinder, dented and scratched. It is heavy. Do not touch it with your bare hands. The aluminum is at ambient temperature -70 outside, perhaps -40 in the vestibule. If you grab it without a glove, the metal will suck the heat out of your palm so fast it will feel like you grabbed a red-hot coal. Contact frostbite. The moisture in your skin will flash freeze, bonding your flesh to the bottle. When you pull away, you will leave a layer of skin behind. So you wear your liner gloves thin, wool gloves that offer dexterity but no warmth. You shake the bottle. Slush, thunk, slosh. The sound is sluggish. At these temperatures, the white gas, naphtha, inside undergoes a physical change. It loses its fluidity. It becomes viscous, syrupy, moving like cold oil. It resists flowing. You unscrew the pump cap. Scritch, squeak. The rubber O-ring is hard as rock. You have to force it. You screw the pump into the bottle. You tighten it. Then you tighten it again. A fuel leak in a tent is a disaster. It means fire. And fire in a tent means you are standing outside in your socks in 10 seconds, watching your shelter burn to ash, leaving you alone in the void. Now, you have to pressurize the system. You grasp the pump plunger. Pump. Resistance. Pump. The leather cup inside the pump is stiff. You have to work it. Pump. 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 You count the strokes. 20, 30, 40. You need pressure. You need to force that syrupy fuel up the tube, through the filter, and into the jet. You stop when the resistance is firm. The bottle is a bomb now, charged with potential energy. You connect the fuel line to the stove. Click. Snap. The catch engages. You check it. You pull on it. It holds. Now comes the most dangerous moment of the day, the prime. To make the stove run, the generator tube, a loop of brass pipe that runs through the flame, must be hot. Hot enough to vaporize the liquid fuel into a gas. If you just open the valve and light it, you will get a flare-up, a fountain of liquid fire that will spray the roof of the tent, so you have to preheat it. You open the valve. For a split second. Hiss. A teaspoon of liquid fuel squirts into the priming cup at the base of the stove. You close the valve immediately. The tent fills with the smell of raw gasoline. It is a sharp, chemical smell that cuts through the odor of sweat and damp wool. It makes your head spin slightly. You reach for the matchbox. Wooden matches. Storm matches. Lighters are useless here. The butane in a Bic lighter stays liquid at cold temperatures. It refuses to turn to gas. You can flick a lighter all day, and it will just spark and mock you. You take out a match. The wood feels fragile in your clumsy, gloved fingers. You strike it against the box. Scritch. Nothing. The friction strip is cold. Scritch. A spark. Psst. Whoosh. The match head flares. A burst of sulfur and phosphorus. You lower the flame to the priming cup. Whoomp. The pool of fuel catches fire. A tall, yellow, lazy flame leaps up. It is uncontrolled. It dances wildly, reaching a foot high, licking dangerously close to the drying socks hanging from the gear loft. You watch it with the intensity of a bomb disposal technician. You unzip the door vent a few inches. Zip! Fresh oxygen rushes in. Carbon monoxide rushes out. The yellow flame is doing its work. It is heating the brass tube. Tick, tick, ping. The metal of the stove begins to expand. It groans under the thermal stress. It is waking up. The flame begins to die down. It shrinks. It turns blue at the base. The fuel in the cup is almost gone. This is the critical second. If you open the valve too soon, you get liquid fire. If you open it too late, the flame goes out, and you have to start over, which means waiting for the stove to cool down, cleaning it, and trying again a 20-minute delay you cannot afford. You wait. The flame flickers. It is gasping. Now, you twist the wire valve. Kriak. Hiss. The fuel hits the hot generator tube. It vaporizes instantly. It shoots out of the jet as a high-pressure gas. It catches the dying flame. Roar. The sound changes instantly. It goes from the soft whisper of a yellow flame to the aggressive, mechanical roar of a blue flame. It sounds like a jet taking off inside your living room. It is deafening. You cannot speak to your tent mate anymore. You can only signal with hand gestures. But that noise is the most beautiful sound on the continent. It is the sound of victory. You look at the burner. The flame is a perfect rosette of blue fire. It is intense. It is focused. It is hotter than the surface of Venus. The heat hits you. It radiates outward, slapping you in the face. You hold your hands up, palms facing the stove. The sensation of external heat is overwhelming. Your nerves, deadened by hours of cold, start to fire again. You feel it tingling in your fingertips. The blood vessels in your hands dilate, welcoming the warmth. You are no longer just a creature of the cold. You are a master of fire. But heat is not enough. You need water. You are dehydrated. You don't feel thirsty. The cold suppresses the thirst reflex, but your blood has thickened. Your lips are like parchment. Your head is throbbing with a dull dehydration headache behind your eyes. There is no running water here. No taps, no streams. There is only the ice sheet. You have a snow bag, a nylon sack filled with blocks of snow that you cut earlier with a saw. The snow is not soft. It is not fluffy. It is fern, old, wind-packed snow. It is as hard as styrofoam. You pick up a block. It is white and dense. It weighs a pound. You drop it into the titanium pot. Clunk. You put the pot on the stove. Now begins the physics lesson. Melting snow at -70 is an energy-intensive process. The stove has to do two things. First, it has to raise the temperature of the ice from -70 to 0. This is sensible heat. It takes a massive amount of BTUs just to get the ice to the melting point. You watch the block. For a long time, nothing happens. It just sits there in the pot, absorbing the heat, stubborn and cold. Then, you hear it. Sizzle, hiss. The bottom of the block, where it touches the hot metal, begins to vaporize. Steam curls up, then a phase change. The latent heat of fusion. The energy required to turn a solid into a liquid without changing its temperature. The block begins to slump. It loses its edges. A pool of water forms at the bottom of the pot. You have to be careful. If you just have dry snow in a pot, the pot will burn. The titanium will overheat and warp before the snow melts. You need a seed pool, liquid water, to conduct the heat. You stir the block with a long-handled spoon. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound of metal on metal is harsh. You break the block up. You crush it into slush. The water level rises. You add another block. Clunk, and another. It takes patience, infinite patience. It takes 20 minutes to melt a liter of water, 20 minutes of staring at the blue flame, 20 minutes of listening to the roar. Inside the tent, the atmosphere changes. The frost on the ceiling, the frozen breath from the night before begins to melt. Drip, drip, drip. It starts to rain inside the tent. Cold droplets fall on your sleeping bag. They fall on your face. You don't care. Wet is better than frozen. The air grows humid. The steam from the pot fills the small space. It creates a fog bank inside the pyramid. You breathe it in. Inhale. The moisture soothes your cracked nasal passages. It softens the scabs inside your nose. It feels like balm. Finally, the water boils. Bubble, bubble, roil, rolling boil. You don't need to sterilize it. There are no bacteria here to kill. You boil it to store the heat. You take your Nalgene bottle, heavy, gray plastic. You pour the boiling water in. Gurgle, splash. You fill it to the brim. You screw the lid on tight. Now you have a tool. You hold the bottle. It is almost too hot to touch. You press it against your chest, inside your base layers. Oh, the heat transfers directly into your core. It penetrates the ribs. It warms the heart muscle itself. You roll the bottle over your thighs. You press it against your femoral arteries. You are injecting heat directly into your bloodstream. The warm blood circulates to your toes, to your fingers. The pain of the cold recedes. You take a sip, careful, slurp. It scalds your tongue, but it feels good. The water tastes flat. It has no minerals. It has no oxygen. It tastes like boiled sky, but it is life. You can feel it hitting your stomach. You can feel your body absorbing it instantly. You drink half a liter in one go. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Your headache starts to fade. Your brain starts to clear. Now, the fuel. The body needs more than heat and water. It needs carbon. It needs substrate. You open the food bag. It is a chaotic sack of freeze-dried meals, chocolate bars, and blocks of fat. You pull out a package. Beef stroganoff. It is a foil pouch. It feels light as a feather. Inside is a dry, dusty brick of dehydrated noodles and meat. It looks unappetizing. It looks like gravel. But to you, it represents 2,000 calories. You tear the top off. Rip. You pour the boiling water into the bag. Swish. You stir it with your long spoon. Make sure you get the corners. Dry powder in the corners is a tragedy. You seal the Ziploc top. You wrap the bag in your down jacket. You put it in your lap. You wait. 10 minutes. Rehydration time. You sit there, hugging your dinner. You are using the food to warm your body before you even eat it. You stare at the flame of the stove. You drift. The Antarctic stare. You are not thinking about the past. You are not thinking about the future. You are thinking about the molecules of water penetrating the molecules of the noodle. 10 minutes pass. You open the bag. A cloud of steam escapes. It smells of savory. It smells of salt, onion powder, and artificial beef. It triggers a primal response in your hindbrain. Saliva floods your dry mouth. You dig in. You eat with a kind of desperate focus. Slurp, chew, swallow. The texture is soft, mushy. It doesn't matter. It is hot. You can feel the food landing in your stomach, and almost instantly, the metabolic engine kicks into high gear. Digestion. Your body diverts blood to the stomach. The chemical breakdown begins. Glucose hits the bloodstream. The shivering stops completely. A wave of well-being washes over you. The food coma. But you are not done. The stroganoff is just the kindling. You need the logs. You need fat. Fat is the slow-burning fuel that will keep you warm at 3 a.m. when the temperature drops to -80. You reach into the food bag again. You pull out a stick of butter, salted butter, frozen hard as a rock. You peel back the paper. You take a bite. Crunch. It sounds disgusting to a civilized person. Eating a stick of butter like a candy bar. But here, your body craves it. It tastes creamy, salty, rich. It coats your tongue. It coats your throat. You can feel the density of the energy. 100 calories per bite. You eat half the stick. Then, you reach for the chocolate. Dark chocolate. Dense. Bitter. You eat a row. Then another. The sugar gives you a spike of heat. The fat gives you longevity. You scrape the stroganoff bag clean. You lick the spoon. You lick the wrapper. You waste nothing. Every calorie is a soldier in the war against the cold. You sit back. You are full. You are hydrated. You are warm. For the first time in 12 hours, you feel safe. The tent is humid. The stove is roaring. Your belly is full. You look at your tent mate. They are doing the same. Licking a spoon. Eyes glazed with satisfaction. You nod at each other. No words are needed. You have both fed the beast. Now, the shutdown. You cannot leave the stove running. Fuel is precious. You only have enough for exactly the number of days you are here. If you run out of fuel, you cannot melt water. If you cannot melt water, you die of thirst in a world of ice. So you reach for the valve. Twist. The flame sputters. It turns from blue to yellow. It gasps. Voot. It dies. The roar cuts out instantly. The silence rushes back in. It is a physical blow. Roo-ah. The sound of the wind outside returns, louder than before. And the cold does not wait. As soon as the blue flame vanishes, the temperature in the tent begins to plummet. You watch your breath. 1 second, it is invisible. The next, it is a cloud. The next, it is ice crystals. The temperature drops 10 degrees in 1 minute. You have to move. You have to transition from the kitchen to the bedroom before you lose the heat you just generated. You put the lid on the pot. You stash the spoon. You zip up the food bag. You slide down. You slide back into the sarcophagus of the sleeping bag. You pull the heavy down hood up. You zip the bag closed. Zip. You trap the warm air inside with you. You lie there. You can feel your heart beating slow and heavy. Thump, thump. It is pumping the new calories to your cells. You are a fueled machine. You are a banked fire. You have survived the day. You have fueled the night. Now, you just have to wait. Wait for the digestion. Wait for the warmth to settle. Wait for the dreams to come in the dark. Rest now. The furnace is stoked. The fire is inside you. The stove is cold. The metal is ticking as it contracts, cooling down from red hot to freezing in a matter of minutes. Tick, tink, tick. The warmth of the dinner is fading from the air, retreating into the memory of the tent. Now you are left with the reality of your situation. You are a human being, a mammal. You are soft, leaky, and dirty. And you are trapped in a nylon triangle on the coldest continent on Earth. The documentaries show the penguins. They show the vistas. They do not show the grime. But if you are going to sleep here, you have to make peace with the grime. You have not showered in 20 days. There is no water for washing. Water is for drinking only. Every drop costs fuel, and fuel is life. So you are coated in a layer of Antarctic varnish. It is a mixture of old sweat, dead skin cells, soot from the stove, fuel residue, and food crumbs. You smell. It is a sharp, feral smell, like wet wool and old onions. Your tent mate smells the same. After a while, your brain tunes it out. It becomes the background radiation of your life. But you can feel it. Your hair is matted. It has taken the shape of your hat. It feels like felt. Your skin is dry. So dry, it feels like paper. You run your tongue over your lips. They are cracked, split. A tiny drop of blood wells up. You taste the copper. Your hands are the worst. Look at them in the red glow of your headlamp. The knuckles are swollen and red from the cold. The skin is blackened with soot. The cuticles are ragged. You try to clean them. You have a packet of wet wipes, baby wipes, but at -70, they are not wet wipes. They are bricks. You pulled one out earlier and put it in your armpit to thaw. You retrieve it now. It is lukewarm and damp. You scrub your face. Scrub. Scrub. The wipe turns gray. You scrub your hands. It is not a bath. It is a gesture, but it feels incredible. Just getting the oil off your eyelids, the salt off your upper lip. It makes you feel human again. You value this tiny square of damp cloth more than you ever valued a hot shower back home. Now, the clothing change. This is the moment you have been dreading. You are warm inside your sleeping bag, but you have a problem. Your feet. You are wearing thick wool socks. They have been inside your boots all day. Even at -70, your feet sweat. It is unavoidable. The moisture is trapped in the wool. If you touch your socks, they feel damp, clammy. If you sleep in these socks, the moisture will cool. It will turn cold. Then it will freeze. You will wake up with blocks of ice on your feet. You will get immersion foot or frostbite. You have to change them. But that means taking your feet out of the warm bag and exposing them to the air of the tent, which is now dropping rapidly towards -40. You have to psych yourself up. You lie there, procrastinating. Just do it, you tell yourself. 3, 2, 1. You unzip the bottom of the sleeping bag. Zip. You reach down. You grab the toe of the sock. You pull, peel. The damp wool clings to your skin. It comes off with a sucking sound. The air hits your bare feet. It bites. It feels like acid. Your toes curl instinctively. They turn white. You are racing the cold. You grab the dry sleeping socks, thick, fluffy fleece socks that you have been keeping warm inside your jacket. You pull them on, fumble, tug, pull. The fleece feels rough against your sensitive skin, but it is dry. Dryness is warmth. You pull the second one on. You shove your feet back deep into the bottom of the sleeping bag. You rub them together furiously. Rub, 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 creating friction, generating heat. Slowly, the stinging sensation fades. The blood returns. You sigh. Disaster averted. But what do you do with the damp socks? You cannot put them on the floor. They will freeze into hard, curved boomerangs. You will never get them on in the morning. You have to dry them. And the only dryer within 1,000 miles is you. You have to sleep with them. You take the damp, smelly socks. You lay them flat across your thighs, or you tuck them into your armpits. You use your body heat to drive the moisture out of the wool during the night. You are a human kiln. It is gross. It is uncomfortable. But in the morning, you will have warm, flexible socks, and that is worth the price. And now, the final hurdle, the pee bottle. You have drunk a liter of water. You have eaten soup. Your kidneys are functioning. You have to go. In a normal camp, in the woods, you would get up, you would put on your boots, you would walk to a tree. Here, that is a death sentence. To leave the tent, you would have to put on your parka, your wind pants, your hat, your gloves, your boots, which are frozen solid. You would have to crawl out the tunnel, stand up in the wind, expose your skin to -70 wind chill. You would lose all your body heat in 30 seconds. You would come back shivering, uncontrollable, and you would never get warm again tonight. So, you do not leave the tent. You do not even leave the sleeping bag. You use the bottle. It is a Nalgene bottle, wide mouth, hard plastic. You have wrapped it in duct tape or marked it with a skull and crossbones, because drinking from the wrong bottle in the dark is a mistake you only make once. You have to do this lying down, inside a down bag. In the dark, it requires the balance of a gymnast and the nerves of a bomb disposal expert. Think about the stakes. You are lying in a sleeping bag that cost $800. It is your life support system. If you spill urine inside the bag, the down gets wet. It loses its loft. It collapses. Then, it freezes. You will be sleeping in a bag of toxic ice. You will get hypothermia. You cannot dry it. You cannot wash it. The expedition is over. You are in a survival situation. So, you focus. You locate the bottle. You check the lid. Unscrew. Scritch. Scritch. You position yourself. You kneel up inside the bag. You create a seal. You let go. The sound of liquid hitting plastic is loud in the silence. Tinkle. Splash. It sounds like a waterfall. You pray to the gods of plastic that the bottle doesn't crack. You pray your hand doesn't slip. You feel the warmth. The bottle fills with hot liquid. It radiates heat. It is a strange, primitive sensation. Holding a bottle of your own waste and feeling grateful for the warmth it provides. You finish. Careful. The disengage is the most dangerous part. A single drop is a disaster. You manage it. You screw the lid back on. Tight. Then tighter. Then you check it again. Now, what do you do with the bottle? You do not put it outside. If you put it outside the tent door, it will freeze solid in an hour. In the morning, you will have a block of yellow ice that you cannot empty. You will have to thaw it out to use the bottle again. So, you keep it. You keep it inside the bag. You slide the warm bottle down to the bottom of the sleeping bag, way down, by your feet. It acts as a hot water bottle. It warms your freezing toes. It releases its heat slowly over the next few hours. It is recycling. It is thermodynamics. It is disgusting. But when your feet stop hurting, you don't care. You lie back. The chores are done. You are fed. You are watered. You are cleanish. You are empty. You are ready to seal the cocoon. You pull the vapor barrier liner, VBL, up around your neck. It crinkles. Crinkle. Snap. It feels like sleeping inside a bag of potato chips. The humidity inside the VBL rises immediately. You feel clammy. Your skin feels sticky. This is the swamp, but the swamp keeps the down dry. You pull the sleeping bag hood up. You find the draw cords. Cinch. The hole around your face shrinks. 6 inches, 3 inches, 1 inch. A tiny blowhole. You breathe through it. Ha. Hoo. Your breath hits the cold air outside the bag. It condenses instantly. Frost forms on the edge of the hood. Ice builds up on your mustache, if you have one, or on the rim of the balaclava. Every 20 minutes, you have to reach up and break the ice off. Snap. Crunch. You throw the ice chunks out of the hole. You check your zippers. You check your position on the pad. You are ready. The wind is shaking the tent walls. Flap, flap, thump. It sounds like a giant hand slapping the nylon. But you are internal now. You have retreated from the continent. You have retreated from the tent. You have retreated into the bag. You are a biological capsule floating in a hostile universe. You close your eyes. The darkness inside the bag merges with the darkness of the polar night. You listen to your own pulse. Dub dub, dub dub. It is the only clock that matters. You drift. You let the fatigue take you. You are safe. For now, you are lying in the dark. The zipper is pulled up to your nose. The VBL, vapor barrier liner, is crinkling softly against your skin. You are waiting for sleep. But sleep does not come easily in the silence. And that is the paradox. When the wind was blowing at 40 miles an hour, when the tent was shaking like a leaf, you wanted it to stop. You thought the noise was keeping you awake. But now, the wind has died. The pressure gradient has equalized. The katabatic engine has shut down. The tent walls stop flapping. The poles stop vibrating. The roar fades. Whoosh. Hush. Silence. And now you are left with the other sound. The sound of Antarctica itself. You might think a continent of ice is silent, dead, motionless. You would be wrong. The ice is alive. You are lying on a sheet of ice that is 2 miles thick. It is heavy. It is under immense pressure, and it is moving. It flows towards the sea at a rate of 10 meters a year. It is a slow-motion river of crystal, and tonight you can hear it moving. Listen. Crack. It sounds like a rifle shot. It is sharp, violent, close. It makes you jump inside your sleeping bag. Your heart hammers against your ribs. Thump, 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 thump. You wait. Is the ice opening up? Is a crevasse forming beneath the tent? No, it is just thermal contraction. The temperature outside has dropped from -60 to -80. The ice surface is shrinking. The tension builds up until the crystal structure can no longer hold it. It snaps. A fracture line shoots across the plateau, traveling at the speed of sound. Zip, crack. It sounds like the earth is breaking a bone. You can feel the vibration through your sleeping pads, a tiny shudder that travels up your spine. It is a reminder that the ground you are sleeping on is not solid rock. It is a frozen fluid. Then, silence again. A deep, heavy silence. But if you listen closer, deeper, you hear the groan. It is a low-frequency sound, almost below the range of human hearing. Infrasound. Rumble. It sounds like a subway train passing far below the city streets, or the stomach of a giant beast digesting a meal. It is the sound of the deep ice grinding over the bedrock, 2 miles down. It is the sound of friction on a geological scale. It is soothing in a terrifying way. It is the heartbeat of the continent. But the silence in the tent, is the loudest thing of all. Antarctica is an anechoic chamber. There are no trees to rustle, no leaves to catch the wind, no soft surfaces to absorb sound. The snow is hard. It reflects sound. When the wind stops, the background noise floor drops to 0 decibels. Your ears are not designed for 0 decibels. They evolved in the jungle, on the savanna, in places full of insects and birds and wind. Your ears panic. They gain up. They increase their sensitivity, searching for a signal. And when they don't find one, your brain starts to manufacture one. You hear a ringing. Yeah, tinnitus. The sound of your own auditory nerves firing at random. You hear a rushing sound. Whoosh, swish, whoosh. It sounds like the ocean, but it is not the ocean. It is your own blood. You are hearing the blood rushing through your carotid artery, right next to your eardrum. You are hearing the mechanics of your own life support system. You hear a click, click, then another click. It is your jaw, or your neck, or your sinus clearing. Every biological noise is amplified. Your stomach gurgling sounds like a thunderstorm. Gurgle, pop, squelch. You become hyper-aware of your own biology. You are a noisy, wet, pumping machine inside a silent, frozen box. And then, the hallucinations. Auditory pareidolia. Your brain hates a vacuum. It hates random noise. It wants patterns. It wants meaning. So it takes the faint hiss of the ice settling, or the tiny scratch of nylon, and it turns them into things you know. You lie there, eyes closed, and you swear you hear something. A truck driving by. Vroom. It sounds exactly like a diesel truck on a highway. You wait for it to pass. But there are no highways. There are no trucks for 1,000 miles. It is just the blood in your ears. You hear a voice. Hey, a whisper. Right outside the tent. Your eyes snap open. You hold your breath. Did you say something? You whisper to your tent mate. No, they mumble. They are half asleep. I heard a voice. It's just the wind, they say. But there is no wind. It is the siren of the ice. Early explorers heard it. Shackleton heard it. Scott heard it. They heard church bells. They heard dogs barking. They heard their wives calling their names. It is the sound of loneliness. It is your brain trying to populate the empty world with familiar ghosts. You have to talk yourself down. It is not real. It is just the silence. You focus on the real sounds. The sound of your breath. Ha, hoo. You can hear the moisture in your breath freezing. A tiny, metallic tinkle as the vapor hits the cold air outside the sleeping bag hood and turns into diamond dust. It falls back onto your face. Tick, tick, tick. Microscopic ice hail hitting your eyelids. You focus on the sound of the tent fabric. Even in the calm, the nylon contracts in the cold. Crinkle, snap. It sounds like someone walking on potato chips. You imagine it is a creature. A polar bear. There are no bears in Antarctica. A yeti. You have to fight the imagination. You have to ground yourself in the physics. Nylon, ice, thermal contraction, blood pressure. You repeat the list like a mantra. And then, a new sound. A sound from the sky. Crackle, hiss, static. It sounds like radio static. Or bacon frying. You wonder if your radio has turned itself on, but it hasn't. It is the aurora, the southern lights. Usually, the aurora is silent, but sometimes, when the electrical charge in the atmosphere is massive, when the solar wind is hammering the magnetosphere, the lights make noise. Electrophonic hearing. The radio waves interact with the metal in your glasses, or the fillings in your teeth, or the nerves in your head. You are hearing the sky burning. You unzip the tent door just an inch. Zip, you peek out. The sky is on fire. Green curtains of light are rippling across the zenith. Red spikes are stabbing the horizon. They are moving fast, dancing, and you can hear them. A ghostly, electric whisper in the back of your skull. It is awe-inspiring, and it is terrifying. You feel like you are standing under a high-voltage power line. You zip the door shut. Zip. You retreat back into the bag. The sounds of the planet are too big, too heavy. You need small sounds. You scratch the fabric of the sleeping bag with your fingernail. Scritch, scritch. A small, dry sound. A human sound. You hum a note. The vibration travels through your chest. It reminds you that you are real. You are not a ghost. You are solid matter. You listen to your tent mate breathing. Snore, wheeze, snore. It is an ugly sound. A guttural, mucus-filled snore. But right now, it is the most beautiful music in the world. It is the sound of another life. You latch on to that sound. You use it as a rope to pull yourself out of the hallucination. Rhythmic, boring, Real. Snore. In. Snore. Out. You match your breathing to theirs. You create a duet of respiration in the dark. The ice cracks again. Boom. Far away this time. Deep in the glacier. It doesn't scare you anymore. It is just the house settling. The biggest house in the world. Settling in for the long night. You let the sounds wash over you. The crack. The hum. The wheeze. The blood. They blend together into a white noise. A drone. It becomes heavy. It presses down on your eyelids. You stop analyzing the sounds. You just feel them. You are a listening device, floating in the dark. And slowly, the device turns off. The gain turns down. The silence wins. But it is a soft silence now. A blanket. You drift under it. You sleep. You have crossed the threshold. You are asleep. But sleep in the Antarctic winter is not a black void. It is a technicolor explosion. It is the brain reacting to sensory deprivation. For weeks, your waking world has been white, gray, and black. You have seen no green, no red except the fuel bottle, no blue except the sky. You have smelled nothing but cold air, naphtha fuel, and body odor. You have tasted nothing but freeze-dried mush and chocolate. Your senses are starved. They are famished. And now that the conscious mind is offline, the subconscious throws a banquet. You enter the phenomenon known as Polar T3 dreams. Thyroid, temperature, time, or, simply, the winter over madness. You dream of green, not just a color, but a texture. You are walking in a forest, a jungle. The leaves are huge, wet, and emerald green. Ferns brush against your legs. You can feel the chlorophyll. The air is hot, thick, humid. It smells of wet soil, of rotting logs, of flowers, jasmine, honeysuckle. The smell is so intense, it wakes up your olfactory nerves. You are breathing in the dream. Inhale. You are not breathing cold dust. You are breathing life. You reach out and touch a tree bark. It is rough, warm, and crawling with ants. Ants, little biological machines scuttling around. You stare at them for hours in the dream. You are fascinated by the complexity of an insect. In the waking world, the only life is you. In the dream, life is everywhere. You dream of a supermarket, a brightly lit aisle in a grocery store. It is blindingly bright. Fluorescent tubes buzzing overhead. You are standing in the produce section. Oranges, bright neon orange. Apples, shiny red. Bananas, yellow. You pick up a tomato. It is soft. It yields to your thumb. You bite into it. Juice. Warm, sweet, acidic juice running down your chin. It is an explosion of flavor. You eat the tomato like an apple. You eat a cucumber. You eat a peach. You are gorging on freshness. Your brain is trying to compensate for the freeze-dried gravel you ate for dinner. It is firing every neuron related to taste and texture. It feels more real than reality. When you are on the ice, the waking world feels like a dream, a monochrome, hazy, cold dream. The dream world feels like the reality you lost. But then, the dream shifts. The anxiety creeps in. The isolation. You dream you are at a party, a crowded room, people talking, music playing. You are trying to talk to someone, your mother, your partner, your friend, but they can't hear you. You are screaming, "I am here. I am cold," but no sound comes out. Or they look at you, and they don't recognize you. You are wearing your big parka. You are covered in frost. You are a Yeti. They are wearing t-shirts. They are warm. There is a glass wall between you. You bang on the glass. "Let me in. It's cold out here." But they just laugh and drink their wine. You realize you are separated from the human race not just by distance, but by experience. You have seen the face of the void. They haven't. You are an alien now. You float away from the party. You drift back into the dark. Then comes the time distortion. In the tent, time has no meaning. In the dream, time breaks completely. You dream of a clock, but the hands are spinning backwards. Whiz, or they are melting. You dream you have been in the tent for 100 years. You look at your hands in the dream. They are old, withered, skeletal. You look at your tent mate. They are a pile of dust in a sleeping bag. How long have we been sleeping? You ask. Forever. The dust answers. The sun went out. The earth died. We are the last ones. This is the fear. The deep primal fear that the sun will not come back. That the polar night is not a season, but a permanent state. That you have been abandoned on a frozen rock hurtling through space. You feel a crushing weight on your chest. The old hag syndrome. Sleep paralysis. You try to move. You can't. The sleeping bag is a straitjacket. The VBL is plastic wrap holding you down. You struggle. You gasp. Your breathing in the dream matches your breathing in the bag. Shallow. Fast. Shane Stokes. Your brain is panicking from the lack of oxygen and the confinement. You jolt awake. Gasp. Your eyes snap open. Darkness. Absolute. Crushing darkness. For a second, you don't know where you are. Are you in the jungle? Are you in the supermarket? Are you in a coffin? You try to sit up. Your head hits the nylon roof of the tent. Rustle. Ice crystals shower down on your face. Cold. Sharp. Real. Tick. 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 The sensation grounds you. You remember. Antarctica. The plateau. The tent. You feel the cold air on your nose. The only part of you that is exposed. Your nose is freezing. You pull the drawstring tighter. You retreat like a turtle. You check your watch. You have to know the time. You fumble with a cold hand. You find the button. Beep. The indiglo light flares. Green. No 3. 1:04 a.m. You have slept for 4 hours. It feels like 4 years. You listen. The wind is still blowing. Row-wah. The eternal background noise. Your tent mate is still snoring. You are safe, but the dream lingers. The smell of the jasmine, the taste of the tomato. It leaves a hollow ache in your chest. Homesickness. Hirayeth. A longing for a home you can't return to yet. You realize how fragile you are. You are a soft animal, dreaming of soft things in a hard world, but you cannot dwell on it. If you dwell on the green, you will go mad. You have to embrace the white. You have to love the cold, or at least respect it. You force your mind to switch gears. I am warm. I am dry. I am safe. You repeat it. I am warm. I am dry. I am safe. You wiggle your toes. They are warmish. You flex your fingers. They work. You are winning. You take a sip of water from the bottle in your bag. It is lukewarm. It tastes of plastic. It washes the taste of the phantom tomato away. You settle back down. You have 4 more hours of darkness before the alarm goes off. 4 more hours to rest. You close your eyes. You decide to control the dream this time. You visualize the ice. Clean. White. Perfect. You visualize the crystals forming in the air. You visualize yourself as a stone, a rock on the plateau. The wind blows over you. The snow buries you, but you do not feel cold. You are part of the earth. You sink into the mattress. You merge with the landscape. The anxiety fades. The heartbeat slows. Dub, dub, dub. You drift back down, past the party, past the supermarket, past the jungle, back to the deep, dark, quiet place. The hibernation, the sleep of the seed waiting for spring, the sleep of the astronaut waiting for the destination. You are a traveler in time, And the only way to get to tomorrow is to sleep. Drift. Zinc. Gone. The alarm goes off. Beep, beep, beep. It is a tiny electronic sound. In a normal world, you would hit snooze. You would roll over. But here, that sound is a command code. It initiates the sequence of survival. You open your eyes. The darkness is still there, but it has changed texture. It is no longer the warm, humid darkness of the sleeping bag. It is the cold, sharp darkness of the morning. You are alive. That is the first victory. You wiggle your toes. They move. You clench your fists. They work. You have survived the night. But now, you have to survive the waking. Waking up in Antarctica is not a gentle rising. It is a birth. It is a traumatic expulsion from the womb of the sleeping bag into the hostile world of the tent. You lie there for a minute, gathering your will. You listen to the tent. The wind is still blowing. It never really stops. It is a background radiation of noise. You look up at the ceiling of the tent. You turn on your headlamp. Click. The beam cuts through the dark, and it reveals the morning snow. During the night, your breath, liters of warm, moist air, has risen. It has hit the freezing cold fabric of the tent walls. It has turned instantly into frost. Beautiful, delicate, feathery ice crystals. They cover every square inch of the tent interior. The ceiling is a chandelier of ice, and now that you are moving, now that the tent is vibrating slightly, it begins to fall. Sure, it is snowing inside your tent. Tiny, dry ice crystals land on your face. They land on your sleeping bag. They hiss as they hit your warm skin. Sizzle. It is a cold shower, a reminder that you are a water creature in an ice world. You have to move. If you stay, you will just get colder. Your metabolism is waking up, demanding fuel. The bladder is demanding attention. The sequence begins. Step 1. The unzipping. You reach for the zipper of the sleeping bag. The metal pull tab is cold. You pull it down. Zip. The sound is like tearing fabric. Cold air rushes in. It hits your chest. It hits your neck. It feels like liquid nitrogen. You gasp. You sit up. The VBL, vapor barrier liner, clings to you. It is damp with sweat. You peel it off. This is the moment of maximum vulnerability. You are wet. You are exposed. The air is -30 inside the tent. You grab your base layer top. It has been inside the bag with you. It is warm. You pull it on. Fumble, tug, snap. You trap the heat. You are panting. Just getting dressed is an aerobic activity. Step 2. The socks. You reach into the bottom of the bag. You find the damp socks you dried with your body heat. They are warm. They smell of wool and feet. You put them on. Then you put on the second pair, the thick gray expedition socks. Your feet look huge, like elephant feet. You are building the insulation from the skin out. Step 3. The boots. This is the battle. This is the war. Your boot liners are warm because you slept with them. But the shells, the outer plastic shells of your double boots, they have been sitting in the vestibule all night. They are at ambient temperature, -70 degrees. Plastic at -70 is not plastic. It is stone. It is steel. It has zero flexibility. You drag them into the tent. They are covered in rime ice. They look like artifacts from the Titanic. You put the warm liner on your foot. Now, you have to force that foot into the frozen shell. You grab the shell. It burns your hands through the gloves. You push. Grunt. The shell does not yield. The tongue of the boot is frozen shut. You have to use violence. You hammer the heel of the boot against the ground to break the ice seal. Bang! Bang! You pry the tongue open with both hands. It creaks. It feels like it might snap. You jam your foot in. Push. Twist. Shove. It is agony. It feels like putting your foot into a vise made of dry ice. The cold sucks the heat out of your foot instantly. You grit your teeth. You curse. Come on. You stomp down. Thud. Your foot slides in. You are in. But you cannot tie the laces yet. The laces are frozen wires. You have to wait for your foot to warm up the boot enough to tie it. You sit there, panting, with untied boots. You feel the cold creeping up your shins. You have to start the stove. You need hot water. You need coffee. You need life. The stove ritual repeats. The prime, the flare, the roar. Row. The blue flame is the rising sun of the tent. You huddle over it. You warm your hands. You warm your boots. You melt the snow. The steam rises. It mixes with the falling frost. The tent becomes a sauna of fog. You make coffee. Instant coffee. Dark. Strong. Sludge. You pour it into a plastic mug. You hold the mug with both hands. You bury your nose in the steam. Inhale. It smells of roasted beans and civilization. You take a sip. It scalds your tongue. It sends a jolt of caffeine straight to your brain. Your eyes widen. The fog in your head clears. You look at your tent mate. They are sitting up, looking like a zombie in a down jacket. You hand them a cup. They take it. Their hands are shaking. Morning, you croak. Your voice is rusty. Morning, they whisper. You eat oatmeal. Thick, gluey oatmeal, mixed with butter and brown sugar. It is fuel. It sits heavy in your stomach. It starts the furnace. You feel the heat spreading to your fingertips. You are coming back online. The biological machine is operational. Now, the departure. You cannot stay in the tent. You have work to do. Science to gather. Ice to drill. You have to go outside. You put on the layers. Wind pants. Fleece jacket. Down sweater. Big red parka. You look like the Michelin Man. You can barely bend your arms. You put on the balaclava, the neck gaiter, the hat, the goggles. You cover every square millimeter of skin. If you leave a gap, the wind will find it. It will leave a frostbite kiss. You check your zippers. You check your pockets. Do you have your mittens? Do you have your radio? You are ready. You look at the tent door. It is the airlock. Beyond that zipper lies the hostile planet. You take a deep breath. Okay. You unzip the door. Zip. The light hits you. Even though the sun is gone, the twilight is bright compared to the tent. The wind hits you. Wham. It pushes you back. It fills the tent with spindrift. You crawl out. You emerge from the tunnel like an astronaut stepping onto the moon. You stand up. The wind grabs you. It tries to knock you over. You lean into it. You find your balance. You look around. The world is blue and white and gray. The horizon is infinite. The cold is absolute. It hits your goggles. It freezes the moisture on your eyelashes instantly. You blink against the ice. You look at your camp. 2 tiny yellow tents in a universe of ice. It looks ridiculous. It looks heroic. You feel a surge of adrenaline. You are here. You are doing this. You are standing on the lid of the world. And you are not dead. You turn to your work. You pick up your shovel. You pick up your drill. You start to move. 1 foot in front of the other. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound of your boots on the snow is the only sound in the world. You are awake. The frozen morning has begun. The expedition is over. Not the physical expedition, you are still on the ice, but the journey of this story. We have walked through the sunset. We have survived the wind. We have built the tent. We have slept in the cold. Now, we are going to zoom out. We are going to leave the struggle behind and find the peace that lies at the heart of the Antarctic, because that is the secret of this place. It is not a place of war. It is a place of stillness. Imagine you are standing outside the tent, alone. The work is done for the day. The wind has died down. It is the deep silence. You turn off your headlamp. Click. The darkness rushes in, but your eyes adjust. You see the starlight reflecting off the ice, a soft, blue-white luminescence. You look up. The aurora australis is dancing. Great curtains of green and violet light rippling across the sky. Silent fire. They move like silk in a breeze. They fold and unfold. It is the atmosphere breathing. You feel tiny. You are a microscopic speck of carbon and water standing on a continent of water frozen into stone. In the grand scale of the universe, you do not matter. And that is the most relaxing thought in the world. Your worries, your emails, your debts, your regrets, they don't exist here. The ice doesn't care. The aurora doesn't care. You are free from the burden of being important. You are just a witness. You stand there for a long time, just breathing. Inhale, exhale. You watch your breath float away and become part of the atmosphere. You are merging with the place. The cold is no longer an enemy. It is just a state of being. It is a slowing down. Atoms slow down here. Time slows down here. You feel your heart slowing down, matching the rhythm of the geological clock. You turn back to the tent. It glows warm and yellow, a lantern in the void. You crawl inside. You zip the door. You leave the infinite behind. You return to the intimate. Now, we are going to perform the final shutdown. You are back in your own bed, in your own room. The ice is far away, but the peace of the ice is with you. We are going to use the cold to turn off your body, limb by limb. We are going to enter cryostasis. Lie still. Do not move. Imagine a wave of cool, blue light traveling up your body. It starts at your toes. Focus on your toes. They are warm, but they are becoming heavy. Imagine they are turning into ice. Not painful ice, but heavy, solid, unmoving ice. Glacial ice. The sensation moves up your feet, through your arches, to your heels. Your feet are anchors. They are frozen to the bed. They are shutting down. The wave moves up your ankles, into your shins, your calf muscles, the ones that walked across the plateau. They uncoil. They release their tension. They turn to snow, soft, heavy snow. Your knees lock gently. The wave moves into your thighs, the biggest muscles in your body. They are tired. Let them go. Feel the heaviness sinking into the mattress. Your legs are now solid. They are part of the earth. The wave moves into your hips. It fills your pelvic bowl with cool, heavy water. It soothes the lower back. The tension in your spine dissolves, vertebra by vertebra. Click, click, click. Unstacking the blocks. Your back spreads out. It melts into the sheets. The wave moves into your stomach. Your internal organs slow down. The fire of digestion cools. The furnace banks down for the night. Your chest. Your breathing slows. In, out. It is the rhythm of the wind on the plateau. Slow, steady, eternal. Your heart beats slower. Dub, dub. It is a strong, slow drum. The wave moves down your arms, shoulders, elbows, wrists. Your hands are resting by your sides. Your fingers curl naturally. They are heavy. They are made of lead. You cannot lift them. You do not want to lift them. The wave moves up your neck. It releases the jaw. Your mouth opens slightly. The tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. The cheeks soften. The eyes are heavy. The eyelids feel like they are made of velvet. You close them, and you are back in the darkness. But it is the warm darkness. The wave moves over your forehead. It smooths out the worry lines. It wipes away the thoughts. The brain cools down. The synapses stop firing. The Antarctic stare takes over. Blank, calm, silent. You are now a statue of ice lying in a warm bed. You are perfectly preserved. You are perfectly safe. Outside, the world might be noisy, but inside you, it is the pole. It is the center of the stillness. Visualize the tent one last time. A tiny yellow triangle on a vast white plain. The wind is blowing around it, but inside, the sleeping bag is warm. You are inside that bag. You are buried deep in the down. You are hidden. No one can find you. No one can ask anything of you. You have done the work. You have survived the day. Now is the time for the long night, the 6-month sleep. Let yourself drift. Float on the ice. Drift on the wind. Sink into the white. Deeper and deeper and deeper. The cold is a blanket. The dark is a friend. The silence is a song. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Good night, good night, good night.